Taylor Finney, an absolute specialist, sometimes suffers on all the other things. He's got a good kick on him in a bunch sprint as well. If there's a smallish group or even a biggish group, he's not an absolute flyer in the Cavendish style, but he's so big and so powerful. But Tony Martin will have that advantage, Sean, of having had the time checks, knowing exactly what's going on.
Yes, certainly Tony Martin is in the real good position where you're off last and you have the the time checks on the other riders out ahead of you, so that is an advantage. We could see Tony Martin coming through that first time check there at 14 kilometres. He was looking very comfortable, and I think the calculation is, just to make it through that point and see what your position is there on the other big favourites. As we can see here, the GPS timing, Fini is 2 seconds down on, 2 seconds up, sorry, but when you look at the that 14 kilometres, well, Tony Martin at 4.5 seconds, that's the real good position to be in. If you're feeling good and if Martin is on a good day, well then you can work on it from there. And as I said earlier, I think the 29.7 kilometres, that will be the one where we get the real indication who's going to be on the podium in this time frame.
Janez Brakovic coming up to finish. Brakovic not got the legs today, I'm afraid. Isn't that strange? We talked about Brakovic and Fulsang, and they've not finished that far apart from each other in the end. Jakob Fulsang 20th overall at the finish, and this man here just a little bit further down. Kirienka still fastest, ahead of Gruzchev and Barter. This is Frederick Kesiakov. We're waiting for that second intermediate checkpoint of 29.7 kilometres. Riders going through in about the 39-minute mark, the faster one so far. 39.3 for Gruzchev, 39.35, 39 minutes 35 seconds for Kirienka. 39 minutes 59 seconds for Ricardo Zoidl. He's a proper old specialist, Zoidl. You don't see him at all, but he's popped up here at the World Championships, done a pretty good ride. He's not going to end up on the podium though. Still some very big names to come. Taylor Finney 2 seconds up. Seems to be slipping a little bit in the relative GPS times, but they're not always strictly accurate. 4 seconds down on Tony Martin now. Taylor Finney, Kesiakov 52, Pinotti going okay at 40, Chavanel going well. Still haven't got time for Contador. He's so far down, 40 odd seconds, he's not even in the reckoning, Sean.
No, when you look at that first intermediate time, it's not looking good at all for Contador, because he cannot afford to go that 15 seconds maximum, but any more than that on the bigger favourites, then it's going to be very difficult to see anybody recovering from that. But Contador, that 40 seconds down is too much, and it looks like that he's not in the form at all, and I think possibly going to maybe lose time from here. But sometimes guys can recover, but to recover from that and to get on the podium, I cannot even see Contador doing it.
I fear you're right. Gustav Erik Larsson with normal helmet on, not wearing the Bill and Ben Flowerpot men helmet. He's gone back to his normal one. Was adopted by him in the Olympics, and decided it didn't make any difference, I think. Emma Jansson used it yesterday. This is Christophe van der Waal, Belgian national champion van der Waal, and this is not a bad time. I actually expected a little bit more from him. Mind you, he has got a medal already. Let's not be greedy. Christophe van der Waal finishes 11th, 1 minute 50 seconds down. Well, he doesn't get his genes from for time trialling from his dad, who was a sprinter. More from his mum, I think. His mum, Connie Carpenter. Well, we chatted to her the other day, actually. I chatted to her afterwards, and she was saying how, careful Tony, saying how much he was taken by surprise on the team time trial. He suddenly realised that Marco Pinotti wasn't there, and then he had to put an extra dig in on the Coburg, which he wasn't expecting to do. So, I don't know. They were only three and a bit seconds down, Sean. It could have been that made all the difference.
Well, I certainly think it made a difference. When you look at the time, you know, they got into difficulty very early on the Coburg. They had to really knock it off. And then, of course, when you lose the rhythm, to get back up to pace again, certainly, you know, they would be 5-7 seconds at least there. And they lost the time trial by, I think it was 3.5 seconds to Omega Pharma Quickstep. So for BMC, it was a disappointing one. And unfortunately, you know, the tactic before they went out, it just went wrong in the final, with Pinotti not being able to continue all the way. And when you have to, you know, make a change of plan, and the rider who have to do that, who puts in a big effort before the climb, it's difficult really to hang in there.
You must have all seen that at home just now. We're talking about road furniture, things that pop up in the middle of the road. Did you see Taylor Phinney go round that corner? He was, what, half an inch, centimetre or so from that big traffic island in the middle as he went hard right. He's really giving it everything here. And they'll start to take chances. TJ Van Garderen, third fastest at the second intermediate checkpoint now. It's Guzchev, 39 minutes 30 seconds, 5.55 seconds down Kirienka. TJ at 19.39 seconds down. The big names are beginning to come in. They're beginning to speed up over the second half of the course. And Sylvain Chavanel also going pretty well. Needs to pull a little bit of time back. He's at 40 seconds down at the second intermediate checkpoint. Here's Tony Martin back out on course with Marco Pinotti. This little Italian is so popular, Pinotti. He's ridden for HTC, rode for Lampre, now riding for BMC. Massively outspoken against Stoping. Ironically, rode for some Spanish teams too. Rode for Sonio Deval for 2 years. This man. Coming up to this second intermediate checkpoint. How are we doing? Guzchev is the fastest. That's good, Sean. I reckon I was right about Pinotti. I reckon he knocked it off at the bottom of the Coburg in the team time trial, because he's going for this one.
Well, he's certainly on time here and putting in the performance. And when you look at that, at the 29 kilometre mark, again 9 seconds down, just a bit over it. He is very much in there, and now it's all about continuing from here and building from here. And that is the question. You know, riders, you can get to that point, but you know, can you keep it going? And that's what you've got to be able to do. Also we'll just wait for the other riders to come through. That will be also a good indicator. Fini, of course, and Tony Martin and Contador to be really interesting. See, can he start pulling back, or will that time he's lost grow out more?
Huge gap for Leroy Westra. 2 minutes and 21 seconds. Dutch won't be happy with that. This is Taylor Phinney. I said it yesterday, but I do like the American skin suit. You can't miss it at all. Oh no, Pinotti! Marco Pinotti clearly pushing it. That's the first man we've seen come down and overcooking it on the left-hander. Going down, quickly back up. Well, maybe one of the cameras caught it. Just a little bit difficult to tell. Pinotti not being able to get back into the pedals there. Oh dear. Marco Pinotti, who was looking very good. Here we go. Oh, this is it. Wet, dry, wet, dry, wet, dry, wet, dry, wet. Oh! Ow, 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 ow.
The white line.
Oh, Sean, it illustrates exactly what we say so often. When the roads are drying out like this, it's probably just as dangerous as any other time, if not more so.
More dangerous because you get a little bit more confidence in the corner. You see the dry patches and you push it that little bit more. And those guys just really on the limit in the corners. And the way Pinotti as well, he got out of the saddle actually, and it was the front just slided from under him, and down he goes, and it's not looking good here. He seemed to be suffering with his left arm.
Paolo Bettini in the car, sans hair. I think it's over. I think it's over for Pinotti. He wants to pull up, he can't grip the bar with his left hand, I don't think. I think Pinotti is going to have to pull out here. We'll see, they're going to check him. Here's Paolo Bettini, double world champion himself, from Mendrisio and Stuttgart. Oh sorry, Stuttgart and Salzburg, I think. He's tried to get back on. Yeah, Bettini knows the score, Sean. He knows the score. It's finished. Paolo Bettini calls an end to Marco Pinotti's attempt to become world champion, and I'm sure that he was really targeting this because he was really starting to speed up. And having knocked it off on the team time trial, he knows the score. Collarbone's gone. Wait for it, wait for the expression. Yeah, Pinotti knows it's over. Here we go, look. Wet, dry, wet. Wet, dry, white line, back wheel goes. Wallop. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, what a great shame for Marco Pinotti. Ever popular, super time trialist, very good climber with it. And for him, all over, Sean, completely over.
Yes, well, we could see there, the moment he got back on his bike, he seemed to have difficulty with his left arm, and it's in the collarbone there, and you could see the way he smacked up the road. He went down very heavily on that left shoulder, and it looks like the collarbone is the problem, and just that little bit of pushing the risk a little bit more, and so difficult to make the calculation, because when you get, as we have here with Tony Martin, you get a dry section, then it gets a little bit damp again, and that's where you can get caught out so easily.
And the Italian did. Did you see the reference times there, Sean? Kesiakov 122 down, Chavanel 150 down. Oh, wait for it, here we go again. Taylor will be aware of this. Be careful, be careful, be careful. And breathe. Oh. Is that Alberto Contador? I don't believe it, it is! Alberto Contador is going to be caught by Tony Martin here. Tony Martin, who's been setting the fastest times after that first hill, he's just been really piling on the pressure. He really only has, Sean, I reckon, Taylor Phinney and TJ Van Garderen now as the people who can challenge him.
Yes, well, it's a big name that he has, taking out of the equation. And Tony Martin, we did see at the fourth intermediate checkpoints as Contador wasn't in the form at all, and losing, I think it was 40 seconds, which was a huge amount. And we haven't seen the team car, being stopped, which was following Contador because of Marco Pinotti there with his crash. But Tony Martin is just going to, overtake Contador very shortly.
He's going to blitz him. Here is Taylor Phinney. To be very careful he doesn't come across some road furniture or anything else. Of course, we've led Contador at the top of the hill. That's very remarkable. Well, I didn't think we'd see that.
I'd have to say I agree entirely with you, David. I'm amazed by the performance of Tony Martin today, and I'm amazed that Alberto Contador has gone as badly as clearly he has. He's a man in form, a man who is well suited to this course, and for whatever reason today it just hasn't worked for him.
It's more than not worked for him, Michael. Welcome back, by the way. We did explain to the viewers that you had to go off and do the randoms as they as happens, and rightly so. They're looking after the business, the UCI. Taylor Phinney fastest at the first intermediate checkpoint. Tony Martin now 13.26 seconds faster than Phinney at the second intermediate checkpoint. Then Grushchev and Kirienka. Kirienka faster at the finish now. Sean, that's going to be a huge spur to Tony Martin. He knows this is a course that is suited to a rider like Alberto Contador, and suddenly he's on his back wheel.
Yes, well, of course, as we mentioned, and as the press, everybody were talking about Contador, he could do a ride on this sort of route, but we did see in the first intermediate checkpoint he wasn't on the condition we were expecting him to be, and Tony Martin knows that. And you know, when you catch a rider like Contador, you know you're on a good time, as we can see here this corner. Hopefully they all get around safely.
That corner takes you by surprise, because it's a very fast piece of road and it sweeps you onto the left, and suddenly you get round the corner and there are barriers in front of you, and I wonder if Panotti was almost taken by surprise, because he didn't even seem to pick the line that the other guys had taken.
No, he took a very acute line.
He turned in very early, and then had to tighten as he came into the corner, and I wonder, because it's not that hard a corner in fact. It's just about
getting a bit on that slightly damp white line, and the back wheel going, it's a huge spur for Tony Martin, slightly crabbed over to the left as he does. Contador will look at him and go, I don't believe that's just happened. 2 minutes is taken out of him, and Martin, the absolute time trial specialist, he's just eating him for breakfast.
It's extraordinary.
Yes, and it's not the bike is making the difference, because they're all on specialised, so it's in the legs.
It's in the legs.
Well, I was in a specialised bike as well. There's no need to rub it in.
We did point out that the first intermediate checkpoint you were 4 places slower than Kyrgyzstan's Eugene Wacker, who is one of our favourites in the time trial. We like a bit of Eugene Wacker.
Well, that's all right then.
We never see him other than there. It's just look at the way he goes past him. He goes past him like the veritable steam locomotive. That's amazing. And just rides away from him. There's no slackening of pace. Contador can't respond to that in any shape or form, Sean.
I think he's trying.
He's trying.
He's hanging on well at the minute. This is slightly downhill at the minute, so it's not a point where Tony Martin's going to be trying to grab time, but very demoralising for Contador to see a rider like Tony Martin ride past him on this kind of course.
22 seconds back now, Taylor Phinney, and Tony Martin looks, Sean, to be riding towards, unless he completely collapses, which is unlikely to do, or something Pinotti like happens. There we are, look, as soon as it starts to roll upwards again, Contador simply doesn't got the legs, look, it's gone.
It's unexpected to see Martin taking the time out of him as soon as the road rises. That's just not the way round you expect it to be.
Well, we sort of forget he can climb, of course, but this is Taylor Phinney. This particular point, it's about stabilised, Sean. It's about sort of around the 20 mark, a little bit less, a little bit more each time. Taylor Phinney holding Tony Martin at that particular point.
Yes, although it is creeping out by a number of seconds. We did see at that 29.7 it was 13 seconds, so that tells us that Tony Martin is just eating into the advantage a bit more, and it'll be interesting to see, because Tony Martin, he's a real solid time trialist. He had the experience. Unless Phinney can really pull something out of it in the final, it looks like it's going to be Tony Martin is going to be on the top step of the podium.
We're sort of looking, there's a nice tailwind coming in as well. We're sort of looking, careful, Tony. Very close to the motorcycle. Contador, it's no good throwing your hand up, Alberto. just because you can't get close to the bike.
Well, I think he's just a bit offended because it's his bike, it's his motorbike that he's not sticking in behind.
Very true. Hey, use it if you can. Got to be a bit careful though. You can't get too close to it or follow it for too long, because they're not going to like that very much. Here is Frederick Karl Wilhelm Kesikov. He too has opted for the standard helmet rather than the Bill and Ben mushroom-headed job. Winner of a stage in the Vuelta against the clock. And it's all going to come down to this third intermediate checkpoint now. Kesikov going through very shortly. Seen some riders who we're not quite sure about their form, however they take it. Yeah, people like Janez Brakovic and Jakob Fuglsang back in the mid-20s now. Kesikov, oh, this is better from him.
The kind of the nature of this course changes about halfway through. It gets sort of less technical. This hill is not actually particularly difficult, and it's around about this point you get at the top of this hill, you've got to roll over the top of it, and then you have to start thinking about the Coburg from about then on in, because it's a flat, false flat from here, the right hand turn, and then down the very, very steep hill, and then there's the final climb, and there's still riders at this level, at this end of the field, who are going to lose and gain time at the Coburg at the end. It's a very, very tough climb.
This is Taylor Phinney. He's 1 minute and 6 seconds inside the time of Khrushchev at this particular point. Just shows what a class bike rider he is, but he's not going to be long before he catches Frederick Kesikov, Sean, as we saw the two of them going over just now.
Yes, it's not going to be long at all, and now this point it's going to be an interesting one. The podium, of course, it looks like that Finney is going to be the only challenger for Tony Martin. And as Tony Martin will come through this point, it will be interesting to see is Finney really putting anything back, or is it the case that Tony Martin has just taken more time from him, and that will really give us a big indicator of who is going to be on the top step of the podium.
Vasily Kirienka in the middle, in the hot seat at the moment. Jan Barter on the right hand side there. He's all muscle, is Jan Barter. He's one of those big, powerful riders. You just sort of have your heart in your mouth now, don't you, Sean? This, oh my word, that's exactly what he did on the traffic island just now. An inch or so from it. He's using every tiny little bit of tarmac he can here to get as much as he can out of it. Taking a little bit of a chance, pushing a bigger gear here, Tony. Deceptive though, sometimes we said with yesterday, Judith Arp pushing a very big gear. She was sitting in the saddle looking like she wasn't going very fast. Just while we're on the subject very briefly, Michael, that was a fantastic win for Judith Arp.
Superb, wasn't it? Just as a sort of penultimate race ever, and the class of the field, it was impressive to watch. And even still watching her coming up the Coburg at the end, as you say, pushing the big gear in the saddle, just under control, and a big win.
Sylvain Chavanel, he's had some very good results this year in time trials, probably much better than his road results, to be honest. He's been 4 times a national time trial champion. He's going to come in the top 10 just, I think. Not got the legs. He said at the beginning of the week, I don't think I've got the form, even for the road race. It's just too long and I don't have it in my legs this year. Chavanel finishes in 9th spot. That's a little disappointing for him, Sean, but there's nothing you can do when you've not got the legs. Nothing at all. This is TJ Van Garderen. Van Garderen on the Coburg. This will be interesting. He was 4th fastest at the 3rd intermediate checkpoint. He was 1 minute 24 down on Taylor Phinney, but it's all about the battle for the bronze now, Sean.
Yes, and of course the top step on the podium. When you look at Finney, he's still, putting in a brave battle. It's the GPS they were seeing 15, 16 seconds, so he is putting in a big fight here. And of course, the end of this one is interesting, because with the Coburg, it's going to be interesting to see what sort of a time he will put in.
Here we go. We're waiting for the time check. 49.04. Taylor Finney has taken the fastest time. And here comes Tony Martin to the 38.4 kilometre checkpoint. Well, that's 14 seconds. Oh, it's coming down. Martin is losing time. So Taylor Finney, 8.66 seconds. Now we've got a fight on our hands.
It's all going to come down to the Coburg, isn't it? It's all going to come down to that final climb, to who's got the most. And if you're blowing at this point, if you're blowing at the point where Tony Martin is now, you could really, really suffer over the last 2 kilometres of this race.
TJ Van Garderen, 5th fastest at that point. Van Garderen still working his way towards the line. This is Svein Tuft. Tuft, the Canadian, finishes 7th fastest. 1 minute 11 seconds down. The silver medalist from Varese. Here's TJ Van Garderen. Is he going to knock Vasily Kirienka off the top at the moment? It's going to be close. Still got a way to go here. I think it's going to be, 10 seconds inside, 11 seconds, something like that. Vasily Kirienka of Belarus, 1 hour and 23.75 seconds. And TJ Van Garderen is not going to do it. He's not going to take this time away from Vasily Kirienka. Oh, that's surprising. TJ Van Garderen beaten by the Belarusian. Goes 2nd fastest, but that will be off the podium.
Yes, well, Kirienka looks like he's going to be on the 3rd step of the podium, and the interesting one now is, as Michael said, the Coburg is going to be the decider of this one. With that intermediate checkpoint we see there, the last one is just over 8.5 seconds for Finney, so it's all about what sort of finish they can put in.
This is Fredrik Kesiakov now on the Coburg. See Vasily Kirienka on his mobile there saying, yeah, mum, I'm still in the seat, mum. How much does this really hurt at the end of this?
It's not pleasant. The saving grace is it's a downhill into it, so you can try and catch your breath, get round the corner at the bottom, but it's something like 16% at the steepest point.
It's steeper at the bottom, isn't it? Then it sort of shallows out a little bit coming towards the top.
It kicks at the bottom, it shallows out a bit, and there's another little spike just top. As soon as you can see, there's a little flyover, a little bridge over the road. As soon as you can see that, it kicks up, and then you know you've really got to kick the bike to get over the top and accelerate, because you've got more than a mile from the top of the finish, to the top of the climb to the finish. And there's guys who will pick up some time on the climb and then lose it again because they popped for that false start to the finish.
1.7 kilometres in total from the top of the Coburg climb. So Fredrik Kesiakov is heading now to the finish. Just snicks up another gear. 2 kilometres to the end. Taylor Finney's almost got him. Taylor Finney, the American, who started 2 minutes behind him, and he knows he's giving the fight to Tony Martin. Has Martin held in knock and reserve? Finney has clawed back, or Tony Martin has lost, depending on how you look at it, about 10 seconds to this man here. And Finney will see Kesiakov ahead of him and aim at him.
He's got a carrot which will help him, and Finney looks strong at the minute. He came over the top of that climb looking powerful, and he looks like he's got riding in him to get to the finish from here. It's going to be very, very close.
It says 14 seconds, but remember, Tony Martin's not on the Coburg yet. That's an absolute GPS figure. Here is Tony Martin. Whoa, corrects his line going into the roundabout at the bottom. Out the other side. This is a very fast run down here. It's a super fast run down, actually. And then the left-hander at the bottom. Still not at the top. The Coburg itself has been passed, but it's still, what's the 1 kilometre to go? It still rises and rises and rises and rises up towards the finish line. The saving grace, I guess, of this is the surface is so nice. 1 kilometre separates Taylor Phinney from possibly becoming the world's youngest ever world champion. Well, both parents will have a heart in mouth at the moment. There's Davis Phinney, the sprinter, and Connie Carpenter. Kirienka's time of 1:23.75 is going to be decimated by Tony Martin. Look at this, right on the top tube. Get that, every second counts, Sean.
Well, certainly he knows, the position, and every second counts. And this is a real fast downhill section here, and he's just, getting into the aerodynamic position as much as possible. We can see on the finish line as well there, as Kesikov come in, he's not going to get inside the time of Kirienka.
No. Here's the left-hander, a little bit of a hump in the road here. Got to get into the right gear to get round the corner. And now he's into it. He's into the Coburg as Taylor Phinney comes in, the first man under an hour. 58.44.13, 46.7 kilometres an hour average. The fight is on, the fight is on. It's USA versus Germany. I'm going to have to get out of the seat now, says Vasily Kirienka. This man's never come so close, Sean, to World Championship glory, that's for sure.
No, well, it's it's been a big performance, and he knows that, and he's been made aware of the situation out on the road, and I think Phinney, he's really dug in. As Michael said there, you could see on the climb he looked good. He was powering up it there and finished very strong, because the bit of wind is there. It is a headwind. Earlier on today, when we were out biking there, it was blowing quite strong, and I reckon it's still the case.
Yeah, there was a fierce headwind actually. Not this bit, but coming over the top. This is Alberto Contador. Well, he's done well to keep that peg there. Contador started 2 minutes back on Tony Martin. Here is the man attempting to do back-to-back victories here. Again, another gear into the big ring.
Oh, he looks tired, but has he got enough left?
Looks tired to me.
That big gear, it's so deceptive. He doesn't look as fast as Taylor Phinney, but it's so hard to tell.
Contador, his pride peaked, is now getting into the groove, but way too late. He lost everything in the first 20 kilometres, Sean.
Yes, well, at the first intermediate checkpoint, he was a long ways down. That 14-kilometre mark, he had lost 40 seconds, which is, a huge amount. And to recover from that, as I said, it's an impossible one. Even if you really get into a good shape and start, getting into the rhythm, but it's far too much time to be down at that first time check.
Tony Martin seems to have gone into the groove again. He looked like he was suffering on the Coburg, but he's put it into the big ring very early on, and is just now giving it everything he possibly can. The young American, Taylor Phinney, has really laid down at the benchmark. 58.44.13.
It's just all about that last kilometre now. He's getting his head down. He's really trying to concentrate in his aero position to get every second. If he hasn't got it in the legs, he can get his shoulders in. He can try and get his back flat and his head down and drive for the line.
He's got 1 minute. He's got 1 minute to retain his World Championship title, and I'm not sure he's going to do it. I'm not sure he's going to do it. The 22-year-old Taylor Phinney really pulled out all the stops in the last 10 kilometres or so. This is going to be one of the closest finishes we've ever seen in the modern World Championship time trial. Tony Martin, the headwind is lashing in his face. It's just dropped a little bit from when we were out earlier this morning. The sun has come out. It lashed rain earlier in the day, but he's got just 10 seconds or less to make sure he's world champion. He's going to do it. Only just though. 5.37 seconds. Tony Martin, the German, retains his World Championship time trial title, and that took some real effort because the young American Taylor Phinney went, that's mine. Here comes Alberto Contador. Well, what a day he's had, Sean. I mean, it just went out the window in the first 20 kilometres, but look what a strong comeback.
Yes, well, he hadn't thrown the towel, and a rider like Contador, when you're going that poorly, you could say, well, he's not going to continue on with the big effort, but battled on there, and but still, a long ways off. But right from the beginning, he was in difficulty, and what a battle between Tony Martin and Phinney, because Tony Martin looked like the one in the first time check he was going to start eating into the time of everybody, but Phinney put up a great battle there and finished the strongest on the cover, but Martin just had that bit extra, and what a close finish in the end.
What a close finish, and there'll be all sorts of analysts and people looking at the way it's been ridden. All the techno geeks will be looking at those brand new BioRacer skin suits and saying, yeah, I wonder if that was worth 6 seconds over 45.7 kilometres.
And it looked like that Phinney was the best one on the climb. He looked to be the one which was going that little bit faster, but as Michael said, it's difficult to make the calculation because Tony Martin, he's a real big gear man, so it looks like he's not going as fast, but it's the clock that tells.
It's the clock that tells, indeed.
Brave ride up the Coburg and over the top. They really dug in, and it's hard to say he doesn't deserve it when you look at that.
Taylor Phinney having to settle for the silver medal. Just 5.5 seconds, 5.37 seconds separating Tony Martin from Taylor Phinney. And Vasily Kirienka makes a bronze medal. Well, I would never have thought that. Oh, look. Taylor Phinney, head in hands. So difficult to accept that. I think he's aimed at this for the last half of the year, Sean, Taylor Phinney.
Yes, I think he's been preparing this one, and he is the big specialist in time trialling, and what a performance he put up. But again, a disappointment when you get so close, only 5.5 seconds down on not getting the gold medal, but still, chapeau. Phinney, he just put in a brave battle, but Tony Martin that little bit stronger in the final part of the time trial.
Tom Steels, the ex-sprinter, now director at Quick-Step, congratulating Tony Martin and Taylor Phinney. Just had to come to terms with something he'd rather not, but there we are, 5.37 seconds down. Vasily Kirienka, 1:44 down on those two time trial specialists. TJ Van Garderen, the next best American. Alex Dowsett, a very creditable 8th place there. But Tony Martin retains the World Time Trial Championship. And if Taylor Phinney had to ask anybody how it felt like to be perpetually second, it would be Tony Martin, who knows exactly how it feels to Fabian Cancellara. Extraordinary clawback by Alberto Contador. He must have been very cross with himself, one has to say. Just not getting into the rhythm at all. Or maybe the game plan was just totally cockeyed, Sean.